And the Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, Kyari, says oil will remain a significant contributor to the energy mix in the next 30 years, but only those selling at the cheapest rate will remain relevant. Mr. Kyari, who was speaking at the Central Bank of Nigeria's consultative roundtable today in Abuja, says the country plans to increase oil production to 3 million barrels per day and increase its reserves to 40 billion barrels in the next 3 years.
What it means for our country and what it also means to the oil markets is that the best of the people who will remain are the people who will produce oil at the cheapest cost. And until you do that, the oil markets will run without you and your economies will go aground. In our situation, we have expectations, we have plans, Honorable Minister is here. The belief is that we can take our production to 3 million barrels per day. It's very possible. Also to shift our reserve from our current status of 36 to 37 to 40 billion barrels in the next 2 to 3 years. It is also possible. Much as these are very high expectations and very possible expectations, but you must produce them today, even at low prices. And the markets operate in such a way that we don't know what tomorrow will bring. The assumptions for this year was $60 crude oil price throughout this year as an average. Now we are facing soft 30 oil, and potentially we haven't seen the bottom. We hope not. We hope we have seen the bottom. But if it is not, it's a huge challenge which the Mr. Governor has highlighted, that it creates a circle of problems for us as a country. And it's difficult to manage. Of course, it simply implies a huge deficit for all of us, and it will radiate into all sectors, including the financial sector. As you may all be aware, today, the oil and gas industry operates in such a way that one project, for instance, Alhaji Dangote's refinery, the Dangote Group's refinery, actually is about $12 billion project. But I'm sure that no bank in this country can fund that. We all know this. Therefore, despite the growth in the financial sectors, which Jimobia has highlighted, is that we do not have the capacity to finance the oil and gas sector in this country. And if you don't do this, and with the competing needs, with the competing resources across the world, what it means is that you cannot compete, you cannot produce in Nigeria oil because nobody will put his money here because this is a net heavy cost oil producing territory. So we are doing something to pull that down. If you pull that down, then finances can come. And of course, we now come to competition in the oil markets. Today, I can share with you, there are over 12 stranded LPG cargoes globally. It has never happened. LNG cargoes that are stranded, that have no home. And they have no home because there is an abrupt collapse in demand associated potentially and specifically with the coronavirus. We hope that's the only reason. But this is what is obvious to all. And it's also hitting other sectors of the production stream, which is the liquid crude. And today, for Nigerian crude, today we have about 50 cargoes that have not found landing, not found home. It means that, the traders have purchased it, they don't know where to take it to. And this is true of very many other jurisdictions.
Kyari, the Group Managing Director of the Nigeria Petroleum Corporation. In the meantime, oil prices fell today after Saudi Aramco said it had been directed by the Energy Ministry to raise its production capacity by 1 million barrels per day. Brent crude slid 3.2% to trade at $36.01 per barrel, while U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude dropped 3.2% to $33.24. Saudi Aramco chief executive said the state-run oil giant had been asked by the Ministry of Energy to boost its production capacity to 13 million barrels per day from 12 million barrels per day now. Saudi has been pumping around 9.7 million barrels per day in the past few months, but has extra capacity it can turn on and has hundreds of millions of barrels of crude in storage. And Aliko Dangote, Africa's richest man, will begin oil production from 2 assets he snapped up from Royal Dutch Shell plc in July, adding a new source of income to a fast-expanding business empire that includes cement, flour, and sugar firms. The Group Executive Director of Dangote Industries says the first phase targets production of 20,000 barrels a day with the aim of expanding it to 100,000 barrels a day. Mr. Edwin explains that if everything goes as planned, the target can be achieved between 12 to 15 months, as the company is already doing the 3D seismic studies. The Dangote Group, which includes the Lagos-listed Dangote Cement PLC and 4 other publicly traded companies, account for about a fifth of the value of the Nigerian bourse. And South Africa's business confidence sank to a 21-year low as recovery in the building, manufacturing and retail sectors in the last quarter of 2019 reversed in the country, grappling with its second recession in 2 years. The Rand Merchant Bank Business Confidence Index, compiled by the Bureau for Economic Research, was at 18 points for the first quarter of 2020, down from 26 points the previous quarter. The survey, which was completed in early March, shows that regular power cuts in December, news around the bailout of state-owned enterprises like South African Airways, a deterioration in the government's finances, and the coronavirus outbreak also led to the drop in confidence. The survey says the index is likely to continue to trend lower in the period ahead, with negative consequences for future trends in private sector fixed investments. And gold prices rose today after a steep fall in the previous session as doubts about a stimulus package proposed by U.S. President Donald Trump to soften the economic impact of the coronavirus epidemic weighed on risk sentiment. Spot gold was up 0.4% to about $1,656.37 per ounce, while U.S. gold futures slipped 0.2% to $1,656.70. Elsewhere, palladium fell 0.6% to $2,404.58 per ounce. Platinum was up 0.8% to $875.37, while silver rose 1.3% to $17.08 per ounce. And Colombia, the world's top supplier of washed Arabica, is creating a special fund to subsidize coffee farmers when production costs fall below international prices. The Stabilization Fund is the country's latest bid to help farmers struggling as coffee prices have fallen to their lowest in more than a decade, and many are operating at a loss. Let's watch this.
Colombia has announced that it will launch a fund to stabilize coffee prices amidst volatility in the market. According to the country's Minister of Finance and Public Credit, the fund will support coffee growers with production costs and will safeguard against any falls in international coffee prices.
In my opinion, this is a historical day for coffee. The first time that we have a stabilization fund with the resources. We have just approved a budget of 218 billion pesos. That's approximately $63.9 million US dollars. And shortly we will begin to carry out its functions in a way that will provide a path forward for the good of coffee growing in the country.
The coffee produced 13.6 million 60 kg bags of washed Arabica in 2018, down 4.5% from 14.2 million in 2017, as growers struggled with heavy rains and bleak international prices. The El Nino weather phenomenon has further strained coffee.
What we are going to have is a mechanism through which the coffee grower can see today's price and can be assured that it is secure in 6 months, 8 months, or 1 year when the harvest comes in. This is a commitment that income linked to the harvest is set. It will not be subject to uncertainties, to erratic prices, not just with coffee, but on other fronts.
According to Colombia's Coffee Federation, farmers need to make $240 for every 125 kg shipment on the market to meet production costs. In recent years, prices have often tracked below that standard.
That's a wrap of the program. Thank you for watching. I'm Chimeze Obi. You're welcome.